Hello, you guys. Hello, you guys. How are you? Happy Sunday to everybody. I'm like over here messing stuff up. I am messing stuff up. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday. Let me put up our housekeeping post and then we can get started. I hope everyone is having a really good Sunday. I hope everyone had a really good weekend. I hope you guys enjoy your extra hour of sleep. Did I enjoy my extra hour of sleep? So, here is the thing. I went to bed last night, which would have been usually 3 a.m., which, believe it or not, unfortunately, is not that shocking. On an average night, I try to be asleep on the weeknights at like 1:45 a.m. That's like my there's a train that goes past my house, and I like to be asleep before the train passes my house. And the train passes my house around like 2 a.m. And if I ever hear the train, I know I'm awake too long. Like I need to get to sleep. I hate hearing that train. It just reminds me that I just know I'm not gonna get enough sleep if I hear that train. So, anyways, but that's during the week. On the weekends, I try to be to sleep by 2:30. But last night I was watching college football. If you don't know, I love football. I was watching college football and then I was reading a book I was enjoying. I was doing both of the things at the same time. And so me and my man were just talking. It was just a very like vibrant type of night. We fried some chicken, real black like, and we were just having a good night. So, anyways, the point is that I didn't like get it. It wasn't like lights off in my home until like 3 a.m., which was actually 2 a.m. because time changed. So it was 3 a.m. without the time change, but it was like 2 a.m. But the thing about my body is, I still haven't even put the post up. The thing about my body is, I wake up at the same time. Like if I've woken up at a certain time one day, I'm going to wake up at the same time the next day. My body just gets into these things and I have to like actively try to break it. So on Saturday morning, I woke up at 10:30-ish. So I knew I was probably going to wake up at 10:30-ish again no matter how long I slept. So I woke up and it was 9:30 this morning because time changed. So I slept from like 2:30 with time change to about 10:30 with time change. So I got like 8 hours of sleep, give or take, when you really think about no, that's 7 and a half. I got about 7 hours of sleep, give or take, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I feel fine, but like I didn't feel the extra hour. I should have slept for another hour, but me and my man are doing some home improvement stuff right now. He's actually in the garage working on it. So if you hear some chopping going on, so I done already went to Home Depot. I'm making a roast today. I'm making some mac and cheese today. So like today's like an active day for me. But I hope you guys enjoyed your daylight savings. I will enjoy it more like tomorrow. I usually get good sleep on Sunday nights, and I'm going to go to bed pretty early because you guys, one thing about me is I go to bed late and I wake up late. I wouldn't describe myself as a night owl. There's just no reason for me to go to bed early because I have zero desire to wake up early. I am not one of those people who's like, my life would be going great if I woke up at 6 a.m. I have this deep desire to wake up at 6 a.m. I don't. I simply do not. That is simply not my truth. I do not want to wake up at 6 a.m. I don't want to wake up at 7 a.m. I don't want to wake up at 8 a.m. And I don't want to wake up at 9 a.m. A perfect wake up for me is 10 o'clock. If my life is going well, 10 o'clock would be the perfect sweet spot for me to wake up every single morning. I don't have no kids. I don't clock in to a job. I am not in school. So 10 a.m. would be the perfect time for me to wake up. Anything earlier than that is just too early. Like what would I have to do from 8 a.m. to, like, let's say I start going to bed at midnight. What the hell do I have to do from 8 a.m. to midnight? That's literally too much time. And I would end up taking a nap. And one thing about myself that I'm really proud about myself, when I was in college, I was big on naps. I was big on naps in college. Then the pandemic happened, and like a year post pandemic, where we were back outside, I would also take naps again. But after like 2022, I've completely cut naps out of my like life. I don't nap. And that's how I'm able to read so much. We're going to get into the book in a second. I'm able to, because I don't nap anymore. So that time, that like lull between like 4 p.m. to like 6 p.m. or 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., that would usually be my nap time. It's not anymore. I find something to do in those 3 to 2 hours. And usually the answer is reading, or I'll watch a TV show, maybe even a movie if I'm feeling feisty. I've cut napping out of my life. So if I don't nap and I were to wake up at 8 a.m., what the hell would can you do for what? 16 hours? Is that 16 hours in the day? Let's say I go to bed at midnight. I wake up at 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh my gosh, that's just too much time, you guys. That's 15 hours. 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12. Y'all, I don't need 16 hours in a goddamn day. What do I need to do for 16 hours in the day? Nothing. Nothing. There, I would be so bored. So bored. I don't need more time in the day. I'd rather get sleep. So no, I wake when I try to explain to people, I try to get 9 hours of sleep. On a good day, I want 9 hours of rest. That's why when we all turn 50 and y'all start looking 50, I'ma still look 32. It's because I sleep. Y'all have experienced too much life. Y'all have experienced too much life, and I haven't experienced the life that y'all have. So I'm gonna look 32 when y'all look 50, because baby, I get my sleep. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, we are here to talk about the book though. And the book we are going to be discussing today is Kiss and Spell. My book has been through hell and back. I went on a tropical vacation for my birthday, and I decided this was going to be my beach read. And baby, you can tell I spilled pina colada on it. My man spilled a mojito on it. It's just like, look at that. Like, it looks disgusting. Like, this book is an absolute mess. It's been through hell and back, but I did end up reading most of the book on my vacation. This book was rather long. This book went up to page 360, and I think I read up to page 250 on my vacation. So, anyways, Kiss and Spell. I'm going to tell you guys what Kiss and Spell was about for the people who did not read it. And you guys can tell me your thoughts on Kiss and Spell. Well, you can give me your ratings. If you want to give me your thoughts, go ahead and give me your thoughts. But give me your rating. So, all the people in the back who did not read Kiss and Spell, this book is a follow-up to Wishful Thinking that we also read in the book club last year in October. And in this book, we are dropped into this like magical community. I wouldn't say even city. It just seems like the magic is contained to this community. And we are following a character by the name of Ursula. In the first book, Ursula was getting married. Ursula ended up not getting married, and we meet up with Ursula. Ursula has been jilted. Ursula has been left at the altar by her fiance. She was planning this big old wedding, but this big old wedding ends up not happening, and she has to donate all the stuff to this community center, and she ends up throwing like one big block party for this town. And she's just like, I am over fairy tales. I thought I had my happily ever after. I didn't get my happily ever after because I am over fairy tales. Well, Ursula reflects on her life, and she thinks to herself that she had to give up magic to be with this guy, because I guess in this town, in this world, there's like people who are magical, people who are not, people who believe in magic, people who do not. Ursula is a witch, and Ursula's mother had this issue where her mother was married to her father, and her father wanted her mother to be less witchy. So Ursula has always had this idea that like being less witchy is what you should do in order to obtain love. If you want someone to truly love you, you need to let being a witch go. So she did that to be with this guy, but she still didn't get the guy. So she is back to embracing being a witch. She's working as a fortune teller at her mom's shop. And that's pretty much what's going on in her life. Well, one day she meets this guy by the name of, what's his name? Xavier. Xavier is going on a date. She immediately noticed that Xavier is a fairy by the way that he acts or looks, whatever. He is going on a blind date, and he thought that she was his blind date, but she wasn't his blind date. She was just her. And so she's like, "Oh, your blind date is probably over someplace over there. I'm not your blind date." But she ends up taking a liking to this guy, and so they meet back up again, and they both realize they can kind of help each other out. So he is cursed, enchanted, cursed, whatever. There's this fairy queen who put a spell on him and said he needs to find his perfect kiss in order to break the spell. And so yeah, he has to find his perfect kiss to break the spell in order to go back to the fairy world that he comes from. His dad has sent him here to go find the perfect kiss. Then he can go back to the fairy world. She is like the homecoming queen of this like festival. There's this festival going on, and they've made her like the homecoming queen of it because she lost her man. So she needs to find a date to that. And so they both are kind of helping each other out. He's going to help her find a date. She's going to help him break this curse. And this is about them falling in love. That is the setup for this entire story. For some reason, that was a little bit more wordy than I expected it to be. What are your ratings for this? So I can tell the chat did not like the book. I can tell that the chat did not like the book. We have a 2. Somebody gave it a -5, 3, 3.5. Yes, this book does not take place in Halloween. We're going to talk about that. Monty gave it a -5. Of course, we have a 4, we have a 2.5, we have a 3, 2.5, we have a 2.75, 3.5. Somebody just gave my rating, and I'm going to choose you last. We have a 4, a 3.5, 3, very average. This is Monty's -5, 2.75, 4, but a bit long, 3. We have a DNF. We have a 3. Okay, my rating is a generous 3. I am going to give a charitable 3 to this book. If I want to be strict, of course, I think I can take this book down to a 2. I don't want to give this book 1 star because maybe it was because it's my birthday and I was like, on the beach, and I was just like, you know what, this is doing what it needs to do. I didn't like hate reading it, but I didn't finish it all on the beach. I actually moved on to reading something else as well. And I'm sure if I was really loving this book, I would have finished it on vacation. I ended up finishing it back at home. So that does say something. But I'm going to give it a generous 3. But I got to be honest, a lot of my notes are about what I didn't like about this book. So unfortunately, I am going to frame this live show about what didn't work in this book because I came into this book wanting this book to work. So I'm going to explain to you how we slowly arrived at my rating of this book. So let's start with 2 things. Is it 2 things? 2 things that I liked about this book. Number 1, I think this book has such potential. I think this magical world where like there's witches, there's fairies, there's mermaids, there's ghosts, there's ghouls, there's all of this type of stuff could be really, really good. When you think about how popular books like Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies is, Legends and Lattes. I don't like Legends and Lattes, but you want to know what's so crazy? I don't like Legends and Lattes for a lot of the same reason I don't like this book either. Um, and then you have Emily Watts' Encyclopedia of Fairies, which I also gave 3 stars. So I think this book could work in the way those books work for other people. I just think something stops this book from really being something you could be like, oh, you want witchy, fairy, supernatural black people? This book is for you. Like something is missing. And Monty just pointed out how like this book starts off in March. And I think the answer is that this book doesn't fully, this whole entire world, because there's another book in this series. I don't think we will be reading it, but there's a third book that's already come out in this series. Um, it's that it doesn't fully like go with what it wants to be. Like if it fully leaned in to what it wanted to be, if it fully leaned into this magical, mostly black town with all these supernaturals who, have all these things going on, I think that's when the book is the best, when we do have all of that at play. The problem is there's just so like I just don't think it's written to the best of its abilities to really nail it home. Like it doesn't camp out. The word is camp. It doesn't fully camp out in what it is. It doesn't fully lean in to what it could be. So like a lot of the book just starts to feel dull. Because it's not committing to anything, you're just kind of like, I see the potential here. I see how this could work. Because my favorite thing about this is the fact Ursula is a witch. My favorite thing about this book is that Xavier is a fairy. All of this stuff could work. But like, how much do we really get about Xavier being a fairy? How much do we really get about Ursula being a witch? If you remember the book from last year, I think that book leaned into more of being a witchy book than this book is. Ursula doesn't really act like a witch throughout any of this book. Like it barely gets witchy in any way. So I'm just like, if we gonna commit to it, can we really, really commit to it? How I feel. I totally agree. We get how things work more. We get to see, oh, that's the word. We get to see different parts of the world more than what we saw. I do, but at the same time, I kind of feel like in the last book, whoever the two characters were, because now I done forgot, they were a better love story. This book has a lot of elements about what's going on in the world, and I think Xavier and Ursula as a couple kind of falls apart. And in the other one, we were spending a lot of time with the couple, but there wasn't a lot going on around them. It was kind of isolated. So if we could get both of those elements coming together, and then as you're saying about it being fully actualized, like we get all this stuff about the world, but then like what do we do with it? What do we do with any of it? It gets a little. And that is one of the main things. All these festivals on top of each other, none of them getting their shine. Exactly. That's all throughout my notes. I fully agree. It's like when are we going to actually live in a moment? That was one of the main things I have. 100% giving insta love. And it's just like I can I, if in a book about supernaturals, curses, witches, I can allow some version of insta love, right? I can allow some version of we are just destined to be together, but like what was this? What was this? Like, I'm sorry, the weakest part about this to me was Ursula and Xavier as a relationship, because I was just like, what is the basis for any of this? And the worst part about it is, besides the basis of it, what was the reason for also them not being together eventually? Like, I didn't understand a lot that was going on. But let's get okay. So I do like this world. I think this world could be a lot of fun. I think this has a lot of potential. I think books like this are important. All of that, great, 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 great. And then another thing I put in my notes that I actually liked about this. So Ursula has this thing where she's like trying to find her magic again. She's trying to find what about herself she likes. I think that's a good driving force. I think Ursula's initial driving force of like, I'm going to get back to my roots of being a witch. I'm going to get back to myself. I like this idea of finding yourself, taking this, like, trying to find your identity and putting it into a supernatural thing. Ursula didn't want to be a witch. She's trying to figure out how to be a witch again. She's trying to reconnect with her family. I thought all of that was good. I liked Ursula's original backstory. I like her originally trying to find what about herself. She had this man, everything with that man didn't work out, and now she's trying to figure out how to get it back. I enjoyed that. I really, really enjoyed that. Let's get into some glaring issues with me. My biggest issue, and maybe you feel this way if you did not read the book last year. If you did not read the book last year recently, I do not think you really can read this book. I think this book relies too heavily on you remembering minute plot points of the first book. And it doesn't try, to me, in any way to catch you up on anything that happened before then. I read the last book, reread the synopsis of the last book, kind of remember how the last book ended. And there are things that are happening in this book. I am just like, how do you expect me to remember that? How do you expect me to remember that? When the hell did this happen? How does any of this stuff work? This book, especially because at the same time that I was reading this book, I was also reading Amari and the Night Brothers, which is a 3-part series. And I was seeing how BB Austin and Amari and the Night Brothers was catching us up on things that happened in the last book. So I just didn't need to make sure I remembered everything that was going on. I'm just like, how the hell did this book not do that? Like, you got to give me a little bit of breadcrumbs. You got to be like, let me jog your memory a little bit. Do you remember? Because for the people out here who didn't read last book, you have to remember Ursula from the last book. Ursula is like a five-tier character. Like, when it comes to the rankings of the characters, she's DE. She ain't an A character, B character, C. She is DE in the last book. Like, she's not an important character in the last book. She's just like kind of back there, and she comes in, and the only time Ursula comes in is her being a bitch. That's the only time she's in the last book. I remember the live from last year. I was talking about how Ursula sucked. That's all like kind of Ursula was in the last book. But like, you have to remember that. You have to remember that Ursula was getting married. Ursula wished for something in that last book, because there was a moment in the last book where they all made wishes. I totally forgot that even happened. I totally forgot that even happened. I forgot that Ursula made a wish. I forgot that once they made these wishes, they all started acting strange. Ursula started acting the weirdest. I forgot everything that happened with that. I forgot all her cousins fell out with her. But the most important part is, I forgot they was her cousins. I thought they were her sisters. I don't know. I forgot all of these points, and all of these points come back to be very, very important. Very, very important to this book. There's a whole thing about her trying to make up with her cousins, who I thought were her sisters. That's why when she was talking about her mom owning a shop, I was like, ain't your mom the other girl's mom in the last book? No, they're cousins. I forgot they were cousins. And then she has a sister named Gwen out of nowhere. I don't know who that is. I genuinely do not know who that is. I kind of think she came into the last book because that name sounds familiar, but I don't know who she is. And we're talking to her like I'm supposed to know who she is. I don't understand Ursula's money situation. I don't know how she has money, how she was supposed to have money, why she don't got no money. I don't understand any of that. Number 2, I don't understand stuff with the magic, her making the wish. It took, like, eventually they do explain to you the wish that Ursula made. Ursula made a wish to live happily ever after. And that's what caused her to start acting the way she was acting in the book. I'm just like, if you would have refreshed me, there's a isn't there a prologue in this book? This book has a prologue. Like, we get, like, a nice little letter and stuff like that, you could have caught me up. So that is my biggest issue in a book, especially a romance book that isn't a sequel, it's a companion novel. In a book that's a companion novel, you gotta catch me up. You gotta catch me up. You gotta explain it to me. We have Kennedy Ryan doing her little books, and she catches you up on what the character was up to. So that was number one that didn't work for me. Number two that didn't work for me in this book. Yes, Ursula was a full-on villain last book. Ursula was a full-on villain. She was horrible. She was terrible. And it's like the threads of that are still here in this next book. But Ursula also gets a personality transplant. Ursula's a totally different human being. And I guess you could blame that on her making that wish. The wish had her acting all weird. And that's why this is, but nothing is explained. Nothing is explained. Ursula sucked. I literally think I remember saying to myself, if the next book was about Ursula, I don't think I was going to read it. That's how bad she was. And none of that gets explained in the next book. None of it gets explained, but stuff does matter from the last book. I'm like, why did that part not get explained? So for all you people who didn't read the last book or don't remember the last book, the reason why none of her family is talking to her is because Ursula was absolutely terrible. Everything Ursula cared about was her wedding. She didn't care nothing about nothing else. All she cared about was her wedding. That's it. Yes, it was just like things were just, let's take some things, other things do not matter, back and forth. I don't know. I was confused, and I can only half blame the author, because I guess you could go back and read the first book, but who goes back and reads a romance book? Who goes back and reads a romance book just because a romance book is a companion novel? Like, they're not sequels, they're companion novels. I don't think you got to read the last book for a companion novel. I think there's work that needs to be done by the author to catch you up. My number two thing that didn't work in this book, that took points off of this book, the way she was acting towards the man who left her. So this book rests on this idea. Ursula got jilted at the altar. So when Ursula gets invited to her ex-fiance's birthday party, I'm expecting for there to be like tension. And this wasn't even Kenya wanting mess, like Kenya usually wants mess. This is just me expecting something. This is just me having expectations. I was expecting for there to be something there, like this man just up and left her out of nowhere. This man says she shouldn't be a witch, all of this stuff. And like literally nothing comes of that. Like, she doesn't even all that much care. So why the hell are we in this? Because at the top of this live, I just told you I like the idea of Ursula feeling like she needs to come back to her magic and come back to herself, and her ex sucks and he was terrible. But the minute she meets the ex again, everything is kind of okay. She gets invited to the birthday party, and this is just a weird scene altogether. So I guess somehow the girlfriend, so she meets her ex, the one who left her at the altar. He's back in town. And they end up, her and Xavier, who's the love interest, they end up at the same like restaurant as her ex and his new girlfriend. The new girlfriend sits down and it's like, hey, can we sit with you guys? So I'm supposed to believe the new girlfriend has no clue who this girl is, who Ursula is. Okay. And then she invites you to his birthday party. And it's just like, neither of you guys are going to say anything. All you have to do is be like, oh, he can't sit here. When they was trying to come sit at their table, oh, not him. Oh, not him. You can go. Why would y'all even be like, it's almost like this idea he didn't leave her at the altar. That's one where it's really weird. Number two thing is really weird. When her sister decides to cater his birthday dinner, what? I felt like I was living in the Twilight Zone. Like, what is this? Where this guy who left her at the altar and left her foot in the bill for all of this stuff, he's just fine. He's just fine. He's just great. She's going to go to his birthday party and they just talk and everything's just fine and everything's just okay. What the hell? Then what the hell are we here for? Why does Stella need to get her groove back if you don't give a damn? If you don't give a damn about being at the altar, you are literally pinching pennies, broke and upset, don't got money for nothing because of this man. Because of this man. And then when the man finally does come into the pictures, you're like, whatever. Then be the breaks. Your sister's catering his birthday dinner because she needs money. And I'm just like, something about this is weird. It felt weird. Thank you. Like, what is this? What is the okay? So all of a sudden they can just be best friends? No reason, no nothing. No, you should be okay. This is why I did it. This is how it had to be done. She doesn't even get a good, like, fuck you monologue. She doesn't even get a good fuck you monologue out of any of this. It's just like, we wasn't compatible. You saved me from, a lifetime of misery by leaving me at the altar. He did something severely unkind to you. Something so, and your sister's catering for him. He doesn't seem to give a damn. I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. Thank you. Like, I don't think you guys understand how this is the biggest plot hole, and I can forgive anything. The clear tension of this book is supposed to be this man. This man comes back to town on page like 40, 30. On page 30, we get introduced to this man walking through town, and you expect for this to be a huge plot point. Like, oh, this guy is back. There's a birthday party. And the thing that ends up being the everything's fine is, oh, I'll get you a job interview with my mom? What? It doesn't make any sense. No. Way too cordial. And like I said, this is not me wanting mess or expecting mess. Didn't think they need to have a brawl. I don't think she needs to go to his birthday party and act a goddamn fool. I just expect things to be like realistic. But I knew the minute that the sister was catering the birthday party that it wasn't going to be realistic, because in what world would you cater your sister's, let's say your sister's ex-boyfriend who was raggedy, would you cater his birthday party? No. So then add on top of that, he left your sister at the altar and you're just like, money is money. He doesn't even explain like why he necessarily wants her. It's just all silly. It was just a little too silly for me. Thank you. That was her reasoning. And then she's just like, are you okay with it? And she said it in a way like she better be okay with it. Like, you need to be okay with this. You need to understand that I got money to be made. And girl, what? It was a little too ridiculous for me. A little too ridiculous. The daddy was the only person who gave a damn about something. The daddy was the only person who gave a damn about something, because that plays into the next part of this book. Monty just said the whole book was cordial. I am all for a slow burn. I love a slow burn. I love friends to lovers more than the next. I love a good friends to lovers. I love a good yearn fest. I love a good will they, won't they. This book, in the words of my British people, took the piss. It took the piss. Like, this slow burn, like, you guys, you get to page like damn near 300 and they not even together. You get to page damn near 300 and there hasn't even been a kiss between them. The only thing you've gotten from them is literally her imagining kissing him. I had to go back to make sure that what didn't actually happen. And like, because I'm just like, I get slow burn. But when it gets to the point where I'm sitting here like, can somebody have sex? Can somebody in this book have sex? Can somebody in this book do something? Because it was just given the best of goddamn friends. The best of goddamn friends. Let me help you. Let me scratch your back. Let me do this for each other. And I'm just like, it can only be but so slow for me. It can only be but so slow for me. So that was my third glaring issue of this book, the pace. The pacing of this book is a snail's pace. We get introduced, so take in mind the romance moves literally in a snail's pace, but we also get like little tidbits of what's going to happen in the town, what stuff they're going to be doing, all of this stuff, and it just moves so slow. Let's take the storyline of Xavier being on the apps. He's on the apps looking for a date. That plot line gets picked up and put down, picked up and put down. And it's just like, God fucking damn. Can we get a start to this plot line and an end to this goddamn plot line? We got Ursula and her wishes, Ursula trying to find her magic. That shit comes, that shit goes. Some wish she made back in the day with her sisters gets picked up, put down. Same thing with the ex-boyfriend. That's getting picked up, put down, come back. Then the thing about the festival, her being in the festival and kind of being like the queen of the festival and all of that, the Smittens Fest, I think it's called or something, that gets picked up, put down, picked up, put down. And it's just like, can we get a completion to any of these storylines? Can any of these storylines just simply come to a start and an end? Can we move on to the next chapter and be dealing with the thing we was dealing with in the last chapter? Can we do this? Like, I'm just like, when are we going to see? Another thing I didn't like, back to the storyline about the dates, I would like to have seen like Ursula and Xavier like going on their dates and stuff, going on their blind dates, and they're them not working, instead of them just coming back together and being like, hey, liked her, but she wasn't that great. Hey, liked them, but this was this and this was like, can we like see these moments? So much is just Ursula and Xavier either in their head talking or talking to other people. And it's just like, where are the moments? What do I have to come back and talk to the gang about when it comes to, ooh, this was a cute moment. Ooh, that was a cute moment. Where simply was any of that? It was just, everything just moved so damn slow. And for a book that clocks out at 360, I'm gonna need something to happen. I'm going to need something to happen. And this book has set up so many things to happen, and none of them do until they do. And then it's over. And it's just like, huh? Because they didn't feel like dream sequences. All of a sudden, Ursula would be in reality, and then she'd be in a dream. It would be like, ooh, and then that was weird. And I know the one you're probably specifically talking about is the one where Xavier comes to her house, which is a scene I really like, by the way. I didn't hate this entire book. I'm still giving it a 3. But there's a scene that's actually kind of good. He comes over to her house and like everything is cute and they're hitting it off and whatever. And then it seems like they kiss on the way out, but no, Ursula is dreaming. But like, it's very like, if you read it closely, you get that. But like, if you're just reading it just to read it, like you probably read any other romance book, it's really, really hard to see what the hell happened in that scene. So I know what you are talking about. This book just moves entirely too damn slow. Nothing, 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 nothing. There's never any tension of like, ooh, should she be with this guy or that guy? There's never any tension with Xavier and the other girls. There's not any tension between the whatchamacallit, the ex-boyfriend. There's nothing. But all of the pieces are right there for there to be. So where is the tension? The only tension seems to be about this curse. And now let's get on the next storyline that just fully doesn't come together. I think I rarely say this because I'm actually a one POV truther. I believe books should have only one POV when it comes to romance. But I actually think Xavier needed more POV chapters because Xavier just kind of felt aloof. For someone who we're getting POV chapters from, I just felt like he was just very aloof to the point where, I'm gonna be honest, I wrote this down early in my notes. What the hell is this curse? I don't get it. I don't get how to break it. I don't get what is even gained from breaking it. I didn't understand anything about the curse. I didn't understand anything about the curse. I was just like so confused because my thought would be, kiss anybody who's willing to kiss you and see if it breaks the curse. Like, it just didn't seem like this needed all types of math equations and soliloquies. Like, was it a true love's kiss? It just said, get your perfect kiss. What the hell does that mean? And then it's just like, why wouldn't you just kiss Ursula just because? Like, that's the part. Like, this whole thing is resting on he needs the perfect kiss. We know Ursula is obviously the perfect kiss, but it's just like, why not just kiss Ursula and kiss Paige too? Paige is the girl he going to date with first, and kiss Paige too, and kiss somebody else from the app, and kiss this person. I refuse to believe this is something that could be going on for this goddamn long. And so I'm just like, so he breaks the curse, and like, is he with the person, or does, like, what's stopping him from kissing Ursula? What's stopping him from kissing every Tom, Dick, and Harry to see if it breaks the curse? What makes this curse all that goddamn bad? What? I don't get it. I don't get what the stakes are to this curse. We needed instructions. Thank you. I thought I was going crazy. I don't understand how this curse works. I don't understand how, like, what? And then when he does kiss Ursula and like the curse is broken, there's more stipulations. There's more stipulations to the curse. Like, all of a sudden Ursula goes on some time loop, time freeze, time jump. He's confused if the curse is even broken. He doesn't want to go back home. I'm just like, this curse is confusing. And what was even gained from it? So for the people in the back, the whole thing about the curse is he tells the fairy queen, and to sum it up, he doesn't believe in love, and love is stupid. But there's nothing about this curse feels like it's like a true love's kiss curse. It just says the perfect curse. So why not just say, unless you just don't want to be knocking off Disney, why not say you're gonna need to kiss your true love? Like, huh? I was just so confused about it. And so then another thing that didn't work about this book, I am ragging on this book, and it wasn't supposed to be this. At what point could Ursula and Xavier just be together? At what point? You guys know this is one of my biggest pet peeves in romance books, when there's 200 pages to go in the book and there's literally nothing stopping our main characters from being together. What was stopping them from being together? Once again, with this curse, what was just stopping him from just being like, hey, can we see if we can break the curse? I guess if I'm being charitable, Ursula not wanting to be in a relationship again so soon, but like, it's just a kiss and you like him. It's just a kiss and you like him. So I didn't understand that, friends. I didn't understand the curse, and everything rests on this curse. I think the only thing done pretty well with the curse is the father coming to take him. The father coming and taking him. Oh, another plot line I thought was done really well. Like, at least it like closed the circle, was like him giving her his real name. And so if a witch gets your real name, they can always summon you to them. So like him going back to the fairy world, he can summon her. I thought that was a full complete circle. I like the idea of daddy being like, you need to get serious, because I also find Xavier quite unserious. What the fuck does Xavier do all day? Who is Xavier as a person? Who is Xavier as a prince? Xavier quickly dried up on me. Xavier quickly became like stale bread to me. I'm like, this is what I'm saying. I'm getting Xavier chapters, but I don't know anything about Xavier, especially because in the last book, I remember liking both love interests pretty good. Monty, I don't know. Actually, no, because this was a question I had sitting on the beach. I don't think she gets his name. I don't know how the ending works. I don't know how the ending works. I don't know how the comeback. I don't get it. I don't think it works. I don't think it all comes together. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know how all of that comes. I don't know. I don't know. I just thought it was maybe Ken didn't read close enough. I don't know. I don't know how any of that starts to work. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know. And then if she doesn't get his name and he's able to come back, what was the issue the entire time? Because a big part of Ursula not wanting to be with him was this idea that he was going to leave her. But if he could come back whenever he goddamn feels like it, what is Ursula's issue? And that's also what I put in my notes. What is Ursula's deal? What is Ursula's reasons for not being with him? Ursula does not give one good valid. Ursula's reasoning for not being with him just started to feel a little fake. It just started to feel a little fake. I don't believe in fairy tales anymore. What does that have to do with anything? That also plays into this idea that she knows that he's her perfect kiss. Because if she's like, I don't believe in fairy tales, oh my gosh, she's gonna leave me. This is never going to work. So you think you're his perfect kiss too. So only you two are gonna break the curse. Why are we not? Why are we not together? Why are we not together? He was broke. That's another thing that plays into this. You guys know. So at the end, not only is he broke, he remains broke. Like, so they're gonna be broke together. Ursula ain't got shit. She ain't got shit. In the end, we get a struggle love story. In the end, they decide to be broke together, and it's supposed to be endearing. And I'm gonna let it have it. I'm gonna let it happen. It's just a book. But like in the end, it's just like true love will fix it. You don't got no job. I ain't got no job. You ain't got no money. I ain't got no money. My daddy hate us, everything else, but we're gonna work because love is supposed to work. That's what got Ursula into this mess. That's what got Ursula into this mess. Believing men. Believing men is what got Ursula into all of this mess. Okay. So I don't know about that, Ursula. I don't know. Yeah. Now that I think, what does Ursula learn about herself in all of this? If Ursula getting jilted at the altar because she was worried about some man, and then that man left her and she got left with nothing, what does she learn from this? Just to go with, I guess you could take the magic element that if they broke the curse, he has to like work in some way. He has to be solid in some way. I don't know, friends. This one wasn't it, friends. This one wasn't it. This one wasn't it. Ooh, another thing. Ooh, last thing, and I'll start racking on this book. Where was all the shit we were promised? Where was the festivals we were promised? Where were these parties we were promised? Where was all this stuff we were promised? At least in the first book, we did get festivals and shit. We did get festivals and shit. We did get stuff. We got to see like the fun of this town. We had like a smorgasbord of options of like fun little festivals, very Gilmore Girl style, and we didn't get nothing. I wanted to see this stuff. I wanted to see all the stuff that was like all the stuff that we were gonna get. I wanted it. I wanted it all, and we didn't get anything. It was they at least they both broke. Ursula ain't got shit either. Ursula ain't got shit. Ursula ain't got Ursula family hate her as they should. If you did not read the last book, I want you to know Ursula sucked. Like Ursula doesn't deserve anything nice, by the way. Her whole family hating her as they should. She was terrible to her family. Of course, she was under a curse, but everybody else was also under a curse, and they wasn't acting like that. So no, she sucked. No, everything like this every time there was like an event, a festival, of this that we could like have fun in, like, hey, Halloween town, let's have fun, ghosts and goblins. It just was like 5 months later, March, April, May, and it's just like, what happened to all the festivals and the fun and the this and the smittens and the what and the dating and the where did all that go? It just nothing, all of that stuff, and the her having all these suitors and all these people want to be with you. Where did they go? Where was all the fun I was promised? I just felt like I came in here and was promised so much goddamn fun, and I didn't get the fun that I was promised. Where did it go? Anyways, let me go through my notes one last time. Do I have anything nice to say? I started nice, by the way. I started nice. I always love supernatural stories when there's like gnomes and stuff, because gnomes are like always mean in the story, and I always find them so fun. Love that. Um, Once they did have sex, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the sex scenes. I enjoyed the slow burn until like I couldn't anymore, until it got a little ridiculous. And yeah, that is Kiss and Spell. I cannot say we will be reading the third book. I think I will read the third book on my own because I'm kind of feeling like being a completionist. So I probably will read the third book on my own. It won't be in the book club though, because if you see that stack of books, those are all books that could be in the book club next year. We'll talk about that in December. And there's more to come because there's some pre-orders. And then also like Kennedy Ryan is coming out with another book. Do we put that in the book club? I think Tia Williams is coming out with a young adult book next year. You guys know I love Black young adult, and I'm curious to see. I hope Tia Williams' young adult outing is like Talia Hibbert's young adult outing. We also have, should we add Christina Forrest back to the book club, even though she's been a chop every time she's been in it? Don't know. So yeah, we got a lot of options. Anyways, last book. I think Monty has already read this book. Shout out to Monty. If you guys do not follow, Monty's in the chat. If you guys do not follow Monty on Patreon and or YouTube, you should. You should. Don't, if you follow my Patreon, go give your money to Monty. Monty's Patreon is so good. Monty is making the best book content. And this, you don't have to take my word for it. Many people on BookTube say this. Monty makes the best BookTube content on BookTube, either over on Patreon or over there. Like the raw, the real, go over to Monty. Anyway, Love Times Infinity. I think I saw Monty log this book like years ago, a couple years ago. I don't know. This is the November book club book. Okay, the November book club book is Love Times Infinity. I am so excited to read this. This is the last book of boom. Knew I was right. Knew I was right. Okay, we have a Monty cosign. Love Times Infinity is the November book club pick. I am excited to read this book, and I will see. Hopefully, we have better luck and we are less negative next week. I will see you guys then. Peace.